Everyone, in this quick video I'll show you how to calculate mean, median, mode, and standard deviation using Excel. Note that you can also do this in Google Sheets and it should work just fine, although the functions might be slightly different. So let's say, for example, we're working with our circulation data that you're going to be using for this week, and we want to look at measures of central tendency for total non-print circulation items. So what I've done is I've copied and pasted my data over into another column. So to do that, you can just select the column, select copy. We'll just go over this and select paste. The values up to row 6 are actually measures of central tendency that have already been calculated. So if you look at the beginning of the list of rows here, you can see that. So I've just gotten rid of those, and you can use them as a guideline. You should get fairly similar numbers, but if you don't, then it's a sign that maybe there's an issue. At any rate, if we wanted to calculate the average, we could just use this auto sum feature. I'm going to make sure that I'm in a separate cell, because if I don't, then the value for the average will populate over the top of one of these values. So we don't want to do that. And so we'll select an empty cell, as we're doing here. Then we're going to go to AutoSum and select the average. And then you can select the first item in the row, and you can either drag down with your mouse, or you can hold down Shift and Command or Control, depending on the computer that you're using, and then the down arrow, and that will, as you can see here, select all those values, and you can just hit enter, and then you'll see that you have an average here. To calculate the median, I'll just go ahead and type these in. You could essentially do the same thing, but just select the median function. So you go to more functions in this case, and then select statistical functions, and then you can just scroll down to median, and then we're going to do the same thing where we select all the values, hit enter, and then you'll have a median value that pops up. For mode, again, we're going to do the same thing. You'll note here that you can either have a multimodal or a single modal selection, but we're just going to select single mode, and then we'll select all of our values. Note you could also type these in if you know which cells you're selecting. And then if we hit enter, you'll see in this case we have an error. And the reason for that is because we don't actually have more than one value for any of these. So all the values that are in this column are unique. So for example, let's say we had 81,524 numbers. Once you put that data in, that would take care of the error that we're getting, and that would technically be our mode. But we actually don't have a mode because we don't have a most common value, since every value in this data set is unique. So if you get that error, don't panic. Just note that it's possible you don't actually have a mode, but try it a couple times just to be sure. The last thing we'll do is the standard deviation. You'll see here you have lots of different options for standard deviation. So what I would suggest selecting is the standard deviation.s, and then again, we'll just go ahead and select all those values. Oh, and I over-selected things. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go up here and type it in since I messed that up. 375. Okay, so if we select those and then scroll up, we'll see that we have a standard deviation of about 130,000 when it comes to non-print circulation.